Yes.
Hi, everyone. I am Lorianne. I am that gal from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and I am with.
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas. And we'd like to welcome you to our Lift Your Story podcast. Today we have with us Peter Beckenham. For you guys that don't know, Peter is the coach. I've seen him do multiple live Facebook lives, a lot of training, gives out a lot of good information. He's originally from Australia and now lives in Thailand. Welcome, Peter.
Hello there, Roy. Hello, Lorianne. Nice to be with you.
It's great to have you. So, Peter, kind of tell us a little bit about your background from where you started to how you got to where you are today.
Okay, I'll try and keep this as brief as we can. I'm an oldie, right? I mean, right now, I don't mind sharing. I'm 75 years of age, and I love what I do. But I started off, to be quite frank, as a school teacher. Many, last century, right? And I loved it, Roy. I just loved teaching kids. I really did. But unfortunately, I did it too darn well, and they kept promoting me, all right? And in the end, this is in Australia, right? And in the end, they offered me the job as a school principal. And I was just 31 years of age and the youngest person on the staff. And I didn't mind leading the staff and helping them, but they wouldn't let me teach any kids. And I said, but look, just give me one. I mean, I was an economics background. I did economics masters at university, right? I said, let me just get one class, one economics class. No, you can't do that. You've got to be a principal. I said, well, I'm going to leave. And they said, you can't leave. I said, yeah, what? I'm an administration nightmare. I don't want to do that stuff, right? Anyway, they wouldn't believe me. I said, I'm going to give you a month's notice, but look, if you like, I'll find my replacement for you. That's it. That's not your job. Your job is to be the principal. I said, I don't want to be the principal. Okay. Long story short, I said to my wife, do me a favor. Think of the worst job you can think possible. She said, why? I said, because I want to leave teaching. You can't do that, Peter. What do you mean? I said, I want to leave teaching. And my father said, Peter, don't be stupid. Don't throw away all this, blah, 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 right? And anyway, long story short, my wife said to me next morning over breakfast, and it was a very cool breakfast. I said, are you talking to me, yes or no? And she said, maybe. I said, well, tell me, what are the worst jobs you can think of? She said, why do you want to do this? I said, just give me the answer to the question. And she said, why? I said, because if they are the worst jobs you can think of, I'm going to try it out. Because if I can do it differently to everybody else, I might get some success. She said, okay, the worst jobs, secondhand car salesman and a life insurance agent. I said, good, thank you very much for that. Now, by the way, this is 1982, all right? So I'm dating myself there. This is during the month's notice I'd given to the education department. I then went to and this was in Canberra, which is the capital city of Australia. And I went to various life insurance offices asking, are they employing any agents? What a naive question that was, right? And they said, well, yes. I said, good. They said, would you like to meet the manager? I said, yes, that'd be nice. Thank you. Anyway, on 3 different occasions, Roy and Lorianne, 3 different companies, the managers all knew me because I was in the Rotary Club, okay? And they said, what are you doing here? I said, I'm coming for a job as an agent. No, you're a school principal. I said, no, I want to be a job. And they think I'm joking, right? And they said, look, come and let's go have some lunch. I said, no, can I get a job as an agent? And you know, all 3 didn't accept me, right? So I failed my first 3 attempts to get a job as a life insurance agent. Now, not many people can say that, right?
Really?
I finally found one that didn't know me. I got a job as a life insurance agent, okay? And I left teaching. I said to these people, look, I don't know anything about life insurance, but I do know how to communicate with people. What I want to do, with your permission, is I will pay to employ 2 of my ex-students, and you can train them in all the life insurance stuff and all the product stuff, right? And they can come with me on appointments, and I will refer to them if I need to. They said, that's not how you sell life insurance. I said, look, do me a favor, let me do it my way, all right? The students, I mean, they were two of my best students. And by the way, they still work with me to this day, right? So it's been a long journey, right? But they changed roles because they're helping me with my coaching. Anyway, so I used to go out on appointments, and I didn't have any problem getting appointments because I knew a lot of people. And I'd say to them, let's say I was visiting you, Laurie. I'd say, Lorianne, look, I'm here just to say hello and to share some thoughts with you, but please don't ask me anything about life insurance because I haven't got a clue. I really don't have a clue. And that was telling them the truth, okay? And they said, really? I said, no. I said, we thought that you joined in life insurance. I said, I joined the company, okay? And they might provide the solutions, but they don't know how to find out what you need. That's my job. And if you need our services, then I will refer you to these two kids I've got here. But if not, we'll have a nice hello anyway, right? And that's how I did it. Pretty simple, right? And it was very successful. And in the end, they promoted me, but this time they promoted me and allowed me to keep teaching people how to do the same thing I was doing. So I was in the life insurance game for a long time, and in the end became the Australian sales manager, but still teaching people how to do conversational selling, which is don't try to push anything, help people to make the best buying decision for themselves. If it's your product, good. If it's not your product, doesn't matter. You've done the right thing by the customer. So that's a long story short.
No, but that's pretty good because you still kept your teaching that you wanted to do, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you still kept that. You went on a new profession.
Yep.
And you were successful at it.
That's correct. And then about 24 years ago, I left the insurance business to start on my own business to do the same thing, consulting to small business, to solopreneurs about how to go about marketing themselves in a non-stress, non-pressure way. Okay. And that took me into Asia. And there were two companies in Asia that he wanted me to come and teach them. And they were both life insurance companies because they'd seen me present at an international conference and they wanted me to go and help them with their company and their agents. So I did that. And in the process of doing that, my previous married a lovely lady in Thailand. We'd parted at that point, okay? And about 23 years ago, I fell in love with a Thai lady. And that's why I'm still here in Thailand. And we've got two beautiful kids and grandchildren and all the things. So 14 years ago, my wife said to me, look, do you mind if we moved to my parents' village? Well, I'd been here many times before, but being here and living here are two different things, right? Mm-hmm. It was a huge mindset change, right? Because it's a very poor part of Thailand. But that's the reason why I'm here now. And that's why I do all my work online, because otherwise I get bored crazy, right? So that's why I decided to keep going, even though I'm an oldie, because I love helping people. And I use the fees from my coaching to educate the kids in my village. That's my mission. That's my total objective, because I want them to not leave school. Okay, I want them to stay in school so they can break the vicious cycle of poverty that they've got in this village. Because their average income, if you want to call it that way, one rice crop a year is about maybe $150 a month, maybe at best. All right, so it's pretty poor. So my role is I pay for the teachers. Okay, I've helped build a school library and the gymnasium, all out of my coaching fees. And I'm proud to say, it doesn't sound that special, but it is. I'm proud to say in the last 9 years, not one child has left school before they'd finished high school. Okay, and that's a big thing for here, even though it sounds pretty ordinary, but it's not. It's a big thing because they used to leave school when they were 13.
No, okay. But I mean, no, because I mean, you're really doing something. You're making a difference, you know, and you may not realize it, but you really are making a difference. You're impacting that whole village, the future of those kids, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's my mission, Roy. That's my why. That's the only reason why you see me online. I don't need to be online from a financial perspective, okay? But I wanted to do something that was constructive. I get bored in the village. You can just talk to the buffaloes for so long, right? So I had to do something so I combine my education and my previous marketing and sales experience and into a coaching thing online with solopreneurs, all right?
Well, after hearing your background from where you started as a teacher and all that, because I've seen pictures on your page and stuff where you've posted about your village. I've seen pictures. So, and now looking back at it, I'm thinking, well, I would have never figured you had the background you had to be where you are today. You wouldn't put those two together. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do. But I'm nothing special, Roy. I'm just a very ordinary bloke, all right? But I've been doing what I've been doing for 36 years. So I've been around the block a few times and I've seen the best scams you've ever seen, all right? And to be quite frank with you, the vast majority of my coaching is not sales coaching, but getting people to understand how to talk to potential customers in a way that the customer feels comfortable with. In a way that the customer doesn't feel pressured to buy something, in a way that you feel good about the service you're giving to people. It's really very simple, but for some people it's magical.
Well,
but it's not.
Lori Ann in at one of her previous employments, she was in customer service. So she can really relate to this, I think. Can't you, Lori Ann?
No, absolutely. And definitely, there is too sometimes pressure from the upper management to be a little bit more pushy. I find that the people learn to trust me better by not being that way, and
Absolutely.
and then they keep coming back to you as a preference to go to because you've built that trust, and that's what's really important.
Yeah,
that's interesting, Lorianne, because with your expertise in that area of customer, I don't like the word customer service because I like to call it customer experience, really, okay? But it relates to the same thing, but it's a different mindset when you think about it, because often people think about customer service as complaints, right?
Sure.
But I think the idea is to give the customers a great experience. That's what I think is it. And Lorianne, you would know that. And to me, many solopreneurs, many little business guys, the people that I work with, don't understand the importance of giving the customer the best experience possible, because that's how they grow their business. Okay? They don't do it. They just ignore. They go for a sale, then they forget it and look for the next person to sell something to. That is stupid. That is really, sorry, get off my high horse here.
No, I had to know this kid. He got out of college, great kid, just really super. And so he found a job and he's working maybe it's kind of telemarketing. I can't really remember the specifics, but they were selling something to do with financial stuff. Okay. Yeah. And this kid, they were just basically cold calling or just taking a list of names and calling these people, right?
Right.
And he was selling the crap out of this stuff. And so the manager goes, how do you do this? He goes, what do you mean, how do I do it? He goes, well, you're selling 3 times as much as everybody here. I don't understand how you do it. He said, well, I don't know. I'm just kind of honest. And he said, what's your technique? What's your trick or what? He goes, he said, I don't want to trick anybody. He said, but what I do is I want to be honest with people. I want to answer their questions. And, when they ask me if this is a scam or anything like that, he said, I tell them truthfully, if you were my grandmother, I would be telling you the same thing.
Love it.
And so he says to people, he's like, people trust me. But so he was a good kid. He wasn't a hard salesman. He was just like, here it is, here's the facts. But I thought that was pretty interesting. And that just kind of makes me go back to what you're saying. You just tell them the truth.
Well, for anyone who's listening to this podcast and they're running a business, what you just said, Roy, sums it all up, because it's called trust, right? That's really what it's all about. And to be quite honest with you, if you're in business and you don't get sales, then you're out of business. but it's the way you go about getting the sales. That's the point, right? And really the most important thing of all is for you to help get your prospective customers to get clarity about what is important to them. Do that before you even think about selling them anything. Help them, provide a service to them to get clarity about what is really important to them. You don't have to be a HR expert or a customer service expert like Lorianne. You've just got to be yourself. You just got to be original and unique and authentic, all right? And ask questions that show genuine interest and get people to share with you what's important to them. And then if you think you can help them with whatever you have, by all means, you then can ask permission. Would you like me to share with you some thoughts that may help you? Or if you can't do that, say, thank you very much. I love meeting with you. Maybe I can find someone who could help you solve that problem. It's the same thing, right? So it's just building on your thoughts, Roy, that you mentioned about trust. If people could do that, okay, and that's what I coach people to do, but it's common sense, right? It is common sense. And at the end of the day, you feel good about yourself because you've really genuinely helped people, not sold them, you've helped them. Well,
And there's the
I'll get a bit passionate about this, sorry.
there's the other side of that too. It can even take just the smallest thing, like a thank you card or something small that's they don't expect. And that also builds not just trust, but a relationship as well.
Yeah.
That's a very smart comment, Laurie. And I mean, relationships is what it's all about. There's no doubt about that. And in fact, I mean, I don't want to tread on your expertise because you know more about it than I do. But for me, one of the most amazing ways to build relationships with existing customers, for example, is to surprise them. Okay, surprise them with something they didn't expect, to exceed what they thought they may get out of the relationship with you. And you do it in a way that you're a giver. You give and give and give without expecting anything in return. Give without strings. And if you do that, the world will look after you. I can guarantee you that. I've been here for 75 years and it works.
You know,
but do not do it with strings. That is fake. Anyway.
That reminds me, Peter. I read a book back probably in the late 70s. See, I'm going back too. You see, I'm dating myself. But anyway, it was about this car salesman, and he was so freaking successful. I think his name was like Joe Girardo or something like that. I can't really remember. But anyway, and so what he did when people came in, you know, he would talk to them, get to know them, and oh, your wife is married, you got 2 kids. You know, you like fishing, whatever. And, you know, as he was going through talking to him, showing him the cars. Well, so then, you know, when he did sell a car, he would set this file up and, you know, and he would, you know, say, it was Peter Beckenham. He bought this car on this date. His wife is so-and-so. He's got 2 kids. You know, he likes fishing. And then on your, when they fill out your paperwork, you know, they've got your all your birthday and all that stuff. So he set up a system. He would send people a birthday card every year, send them a Christmas card. And then all throughout the year, he would call them, just say, hey, Peter, how's the car working for you? You know, hey, have you done any fishing? How's your wife? How's Mary? How's your kids? You know, how, you know, and just, and he said that was something he did. And he created relationships, built trust, and people kept coming back to him, you know. And I always thought that was pretty interesting, you know.
Actually, Roy, he was a very smart man. Sorry, Laurie.
No, I was just gonna say, and he probably got a lot of referrals too, because that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is huge in any business.
Yeah, you know,
Well,
hey, go see Peter, man. He's a great. I bought 5 cars from him. He's a great guy. You think you'll see him? You know, you can trust him.
Yeah, because they felt comfortable with him, and they also showed real interest in him. He's a very special person.
Yeah.
But interesting, Lorianne, I would never use the word referral. Okay, I don't ask people for referrals. Okay, I mean, I want people to introduce me. That's a big difference to getting referrals. A referral means, look, why don't you send a message to Roy Miller? Okay, he could be of help to you. Okay, I would much rather people introduce me to Roy and personally do that. And in order to do that, you've got to have a relationship that really is worth it. So you're putting the onus on yourself to build a relationship that is worthy of then getting them to introduce you to others. Because if Laurie Ann Campbell introduces me personally to Roy Miller, I have a much better chance of working with Roy as a potential client than if he just gave me his Facebook, for example, profile link, okay, and said, go and do it. So anyway,
That's interesting. That's interesting, Peter.
that's what.
That's interesting because we had a guest on a few weeks ago, and his whole thing was about words. And remember, Lorianne? And
Oh yeah, I'm still having a hard time with the butt thing.
yeah, but it's just like you say, referral, introduction. I mean,
Yeah,
the concept is the same, but
it is, but it's a mindset thing, and it's also a positioning thing.
Yeah.
Because if Roy, you looked after me really well, and I'm a client of yours, and you did, like you shared in that story, and you just called me out of the blue, say, how you doing? And you showed interest, and you remembered that I had kids going to university, or I love fishing, or whatever it is. I'm thinking, this Roy's a pretty good guy. He really is a good guy, okay? And even without asking me, I would probably want to introduce you anyway, right? Because you earned it. And that's the point of it. You empowered me to do that. And that's part of the way I go about coaching people. You will earn the right to do a lot of things if you do the right things first.
Yeah. Just interesting that because after that other guest and talking about words, it just hit me when Lorianne said referral and you said introduction. I was thinking, there it is right there, words.
Yeah.
Words. It just brought it home. So Peter, kind of tell us what you do in your coaching.
Oh, how much time you got, Roy?
Well, about 5 minutes.
I know time's against it. Very simple. I work with people who are petrified, who are good at what they do, okay? And they can really help people, whether they are a marketer or a network marketer or a life coach or whatever they are, right? They are good at what they do, but they have a hang up about how to get people to talk to, but more importantly, when they get there, how to talk to them. So my focus is to help people feel comfortable, first of all, to get in front of people who are more likely to want to work with them, but then to optimize that opportunity by having conversations with them, as I mentioned earlier, where they feel comfortable and they value you because of the value you give to them without selling them anything, okay? And in a nutshell, I coach people to take their prospects to a point when the prospect has clarified to themselves what's really important to them. And if you can do that, then the world is your oyster, really is, because you can't lose. Think about that. You can't lose, because if it happens to be a problem that you can solve, you've got yourself a client. But if it's a problem you can't solve, you've got yourself an advocate, because you've taken them through a customer experience, Marianne, right? A customer experience that they will never forget, because most people are waiting for the sales pitch and it's not going to come. There you are. That's my 2 minutes worth.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Customer experience, and I think that's a term that you're starting to hear more of nowadays. It's not the sale. It's what's your customer experience, for these people, I know I read something, I have an iPhone, and they're making it easier now to switch from your old iPhone to your new iPhone. And they said that in talking to their customers, that was one of the biggest things. It's so hard to, change your stuff from one phone to the other. You got to do all this stuff. So Apple went through, and now whenever you change your phone, you lay them side by side. They punch something in and it automatically transfers all your stuff. Takes about 3 minutes. And they said that they found out that little change there was such a huge thing for their customer experience that it brought a lot more people to the iPhone.
And so I'm going to throw in the Samsung. They've had that for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was
Hey.
why the iPhone had to come and step up to the plate, because Samsung is really stepping up there as well. And it was like a smart switch over, so that it's been quite a few years they've had that already. So nice to hear that, the competition's keeping up with each other.
Well, I mean, they have to in the marketplace.
Exactly.
There's so much competition for everything. So, Peter, how can our people reach out to you?
Very easy, Roy. I mean, you can go, I've got a website, peterbeckenham.com, Peter, Beckenham.com, or they can send me a friend request on Facebook, for example. And if they do that, I would love people to send me a message saying that they listen to the podcast, Lift Your Story. That will help me to understand where they're coming from, because that was the reason why we connected with each other. Because I mean, I get a lot of friend requests every day, and I don't accept all that many. I mean, I'm not being exclusive, by the way. I'm just simply wanting to optimize the time I have on social media, because I don't want to spend all day on Facebook. But I'm happy to share and give and help people. And if people indicate they come from Lift Your Story, I will be delighted to help them.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Go ahead, Lorianne.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, are you on LinkedIn as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Yes,
beautiful.
I am. Peter Beckenham on LinkedIn. Okay. And if you go to either of those and check out my profile, I'll give you an example. There's something free. Okay. And there's no strings attached to this. If let's take the Facebook example, but you'll find it also on LinkedIn. If you go to Facebook and you click the About tab on Facebook, and then you go down to Details about Peter, right, which is a very normal template in there. You go in there, then you'll see a thing called My Gift for You. And if you just click that gift, you'll get a direct download. You don't have to join my email list, nothing. There's no strings attached. And it is a little ebook called How to 10x Your Sales Without Pitching. And that represents my whole philosophy.
I've got that.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the introduction to what I'm all about. Okay. It's just the very simple basis of it. So,
well, I know you put out a lot of great content, Peter. I've seen tons of your stuff. So I would recommend anybody to go on Peter's Facebook page. He's got tons of great training and stuff. It's always worth your time to listen to what he has to say.
Thank you, Roy.
You're
That's
welcome.
And
very nice.
Roy will introduce you personally to Peter.
Thank you,
We can be on
Lorianne.
Zoom.
It's been a pleasure to talk with both of you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank
Well,
you.
we
for
sure
being
enjoyed it, Peter.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.